Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I'm Prachi, head nutritionist and lifestyle expert from Luke Coutinho's team. Regarding my work experience, I have dealt with cases like cancer, diabetes, thyroid, and even arthritic conditions. So today we shall discuss about arthritis and tips to manage the same with lifestyle. But before we begin, I would like to share my experience that I've had with most of my arthritic patients. So, when we take the case history to understand the root cause, I always ask my client, so, what do you think was there in your lifestyle that probably triggered or aggravated your arthritis? And in most cases, I used to get answers like, oh, what my lifestyle has to do with arthritis, or, that I'm aging and hence got arthritis, or, even that my mother has arthritis, and so I was quite sure that I'll have it too, and so on and so forth. So, hence I thought that it is essential to take up this topic to make you more aware of the links arthritis may have to your lifestyle and hence how you can make use of it to manage arthritis and have a better quality of life. So, firstly, what is arthritis? So, it's basically a condition that impacts our musculoskeletal system and mainly our joints. So when we look at the word arthritis, it has Greek origin. So if we, divide it into two parts, arthos means joints and the suffix itis means inflammation. So hence, simply put, it is joint inflammation. So when there is chronic inflammation of these joints due to multiple reasons that we look at shortly, that leads to arthritis. And the overall symptoms seen in arthritis are basically pain and stiffness, swelling, even redness around the joints, and there is decrease in the range of motion. Okay, so these symptoms may come and go, and they may just be there for a while, and they may even become severe uh, to some extent after a few months or maybe even years. And severe arthritis can result in chronic pain, inability to do even daily activities, and make it more difficult to walk and climb stairs. But when we say arthritis, there are about 100 conditions that fall under the category under this label arthritis, including osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, gout, etc. But today, in the interest of time, we shall focus on the two main types, that is osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis in this session. The others we may take up in our subsequent sessions for sure. So now coming to osteoarthritis. So what is osteoarthritis? It is the most common type of arthritis, which involves degeneration of your joints cartilage as a result of either wear and tear and destruction due to inflammation. And this cartilage, so what exactly is cartilage? So it is basically a hard and sleek coating on the ends of your bones where they form a joint. And normally the function of cartilage is to cushion the ends of the bones and allow frictionless joint motion. But such damage due to arthritis or like chronic inflammation, that can result in these two bones in the joint grinding directly on the bone, like one bone grinding directly on the other bone, which basically causes pain and restricted movement. Although osteoarthritis can damage any joint, it mostly, it most commonly affects the weight bearing joints like your knee, hip, spine, ankle joint. But it can even affect hands like your thumb joint or even the distal interphalangeal joints too. Now coming to rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is different in terms of that. Of course, it is also a chronic inflammatory disease, but the main reason behind it is autoimmunity. So now, what is autoimmunity? Autoimmunity is basically when your body's own immune system wrongly attacks your own tissues. And in case of arthritis, it is mainly the joint, the lining of your joint, which is called as synovial membrane, and that again causes painful swelling and stiffness of your joints. And in severe cases it results in even bone erosion and joint deformity, and hence we in rheumatoid arthritis especially we see a lot of joint deformities when it's too severe. In case of rheumatoid arthritis, it is often felt in first. It is felt in the small joints of your body, which is again, your hands and feet first, and then as it progresses, it can affect your wrists, elbow, even knees, ankles, hips, and shoulders. And one common characteristic in rheumatoid arthritis is mostly is that it when it affects both the sides of your body. But of course, it's a characteristic, but it may or may not happen. And in severe cases, because of this chronic inflammation, further it can also damage a wide variety of your other body systems like skin, eyes, lungs, heart, even your blood vessels. So these are the two main types of arthritis. Now let us look at what are the triggers or the causes that may cause arthritis or may aggravate arthritis. But before that, I have an interesting question for you. So how many of you think that your favorite aerated drink, which is there in the market, can also affect your bones and joints? Can you all please, click that raise your hand option and please let me know about it? Okay. Okay. So, surprisingly, there are not many who feel the same, but I'll answer this very shortly. So, coming to the triggers, for arthritis, the possible triggers. So, the first and the very, very important one being chronic hyperacidity. So when I say acidity, it does not mean that you need to feel that heartburn or acidity all the time. Even having an acidic environment in the body is, for a long period of time, can even affect your joints. So, when we say acidic environment in the body, how does that happen? That mainly happens due to faulty lifestyle, which can cause acidity, and also having too much of acidic foods, and that includes all of those aerated drinks as well. So basically, aerated drinks have, they are high in corn fructose, fructose corn syrup, and it also has certain acids or like phosphoric acid and carbonic acid, which are in itself very acidic. Also, when it comes to products which have refined sugar, a lot of salt, preservatives, chemical-laden packaged foods, these basically, and even certain faulty lifestyle habits like consuming excessive alcohol or smoking or even sedentary lifestyle makes the body and a blood pH more acidic. So normally what happens is, body has these alkaline buffers to make the blood alkaline again in case there is, acidity produced in the medium. But if this happens over a long period of time, and if there is chronic and excessive acidity, then that calls for the body to leach calcium from your bones, because calcium is highly alkaline, which helps in making your body or your blood pH alkaline again. But that in the bargain, there is too much of leaching of calcium that happens. And initially the leaching starts from the ends of the bones where it is easily available and leachable. So basically your joint ends in the elbow, knee, toes, fingers, and this goes on. And if the acidity still goes on, then it reaches to the center of your bone. And yet, if the acidity is not managed, then from calcium, it moves to magnesium as well. So, this says that it is extremely, extremely important to keep your body more alkaline, because acidity is number one cause, for arthritis to aggravate or to make you more susceptible to arthritis. So we definitely would like to, take care of it by having a good, having good eating habits, and even, having more alkaline foods in your routine, like say lemon water, or fresh fruits and vegetables, etc. The second possible trigger is physical activity. Now this is like a double-edged sword, and we really need to get it right. So so of course one should stay active to keep the joints moving and flexible. But when someone over exercises, that can actually lead to too much of stress on the joints and muscles. So some people think that exercising for too long is good to lose weight, and then they tend to overdo it, like they work out for longer duration, say 2 to 3 hours at a stretch, without even right amount of rest and recovery to the body, or even wrong form of weightlifting, all of which can lead to chronic inflammation again in the body and wear and tear of the joints, ultimately leading to arthritis in the long run. Hence, again, there has to be a balance between your physical activity. You of course need to be active, but overactivity or over exercising is something you would want to avoid. The third possible trigger, or the cause, is obesity. So the logic is quite simple, that the more weight you carry for longer period of time, the more pressure it puts on your joints, especially knee joints and spine, as they are designed to carry only a specific amount of weight, which is mainly your ideal body weight. But if there is excess weight for a longer period of time, then these joints start getting weaker and weaker with time, ultimately of course leading to inflammation, which can lead to arthritis. So again, it is extremely essential to keep up with your your body weight, to keep up with your ideal body weight. The fourth reason, or the fourth cause, would be deficiency of certain key nutrients in your routine or in your daily diet, which is calcium, mainly calcium, with vitamin D3 and magnesium. So now calcium is, of course, it is required to maintain your joint health and to reduce its pain and inflammation too. Hence, we need to keep up with our calcium levels through, calcium-rich food sources, like say sesame seeds, ragi, rajgira seeds, lentils, green leafy vegetables as well. However, when it comes to supplements, we need to be quite careful, because in fact, too much of calcium can form crystals, which can get deposited in your joints, that also causing pain and swelling. So of course, when it comes to calcium supplements, you have to be very, very careful, and you need to keep your doctor in loop, and take an informed decision. Then we also need to look at vitamin D, which is required for the absorption of calcium in our system. So even if you take good amounts of calcium rich foods, but if your vitamin D level is low, it will affect the absorption of enough calcium from the diet to meet our body's requirement. Also, vitamin D is a great immunity boosting and anti-inflammatory agent by itself. So how would you get your vitamin D? That the first, of course, being exposure to sunlight, between 10 to 3 p.m. for about 30 minutes could help to some extent. But the best way to keep up with the levels would be through supplementation. But only after knowing your vitamin D level through a blood test, and then check the right dose. Magnesium is an essential component too for the bones and joints, and it is extremely important for vitamin D absorption and metabolism. So, you see all of these vitamins and minerals, like calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D as well, they are interconnected. Magnesium-rich foods would be all nuts and seeds, especially your almonds, pumpkin seeds, raw cacao, powder, or nibs, or your green leafy vegetables, whole grains as well. Coming to the next trigger would be chronic emotional stress. So now, it is quite real that stress is related to arthritis as well. In fact, internalizing your emotions and being chronically stressed throughout can raise your cortisol hormone, which is the stress hormone. And if we stay chronically, stressed all the time, that can lead to inflammation as well. So, and in fact, even in my practice, I've seen many cases, wherein if the client is highly anxious or stressed, it used to immediately cause a flare up of symptoms. So, definitely, stress has a connection with your arthritis. So, it obviously we'll have stressors in life, but we need to handle them better with ways like, or simple tools like deep breathing, meditation, positive visualization, affirmations, etc. The next trigger, the cause can be chronic sleep deprivation. So this can, sleep deprivation can also lead to chronic inflammation in the body, which in turn can affect joints and thus arthritis. Hence, maintaining regular sleep pattern and completing on an average about 7 to 8 hours of good deep sleep so that you feel rested in the morning is extremely important to keep that inflammation level to its lowest. The next trigger being optimum water intake. So, as simple as keeping up or improving your water intake to about 2.53 or 2 to 3 liters helps to keep the joints lubricated and prevents dryness. But of course, people who have kidney issues or have certain water restrictions, they need to abide by those restrictions. So these were mainly, the triggers or the possible causes for aggravating or flaring up your arthritis. Now let us come to certain superfoods of interest and remedies. So, firstly, what we have seen in our practice as well that gluten and dairy may affect your arthritis or your symptoms ahead, because the quality of gluten and dairy that we get nowadays is something which is questionable, and that can cause inflammation as well. So, what you may want to do is, if you do have severe arthritis or you have arthritis symptoms, you can go off gluten and dairy, basically wheat and dairy products, maybe say for 2 to 3 weeks and see how you feel. Most of them do find a difference. The pain, swelling, stiffness reduces quite a lot. But of course, it's not a brand. It's not like a general rule. You need to, it is specific with every individual. So you may want to look at that as well. The second being bromelain. So it's basically a digestive enzyme present in your pineapple, the fruit pineapple, which is highly alkaline and anti-inflammatory. So maybe having a cup of pineapple would be very beneficial for your arthritis. Or one may look at taking a bromelain supplement if required. The third being black sesame seeds, which are again anti-inflammatory and they help reduce pain and inflammation at the joint level. And of course, they are also calcium rich. So soaking about 1 to 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds overnight in water and then having them preferably in the morning on an empty stomach is quite beneficial. The next is anti-inflammatory mix, which is quite, which is one of my favorites because it has all these, super anti-inflammatory spices, which is your turmeric, black pepper, methi seed powder, and ginger powder. So basically what you have to do is just simply take 20 grams of ginger powder, black pepper powder, and 50 grams each of your methi seed powder and 50 grams of turmeric powder. Just mix these dry powders and store it in an airtight glass container. And you just have to take about 1 tablespoon of this powder with water, preferably in the morning. But of course, you may want to start with lower doses, say 1 teaspoon, and then see how you feel. The next and pretty much, my favorite again and very effective is raw potato juice. Because it contains a lot of nutrients and enzymes that can actually help with pain and stiffness. So you just basically have to peel a raw potato, and if there are any green shoots, you just need to remove them because they may be poisonous as well. And just cut your the raw potato into pieces and juice it with water and drink it. So you can have like 1 cup of raw potato juice. Even external application on the joint area where there is stiffness and pain really helps a lot as well. But of course, since potato is high in potassium, people who have high potassium issues or kidney issues, they may want to avoid this. The next is application, external application, which is mainly nutmeg oil. So, nutmeg is basically, it acts as a natural painkiller, and when it is applied externally, it really gives you good effects. Again, it's an anti-inflammatory, it has anti-inflammatory properties as well. So you basically just have to take 4 to 5 drops of nutmeg oil, pure essential oil, and mix with a carrier oil, like say cold pressed coconut oil or sesame oil, and apply it on the pain area. But of course, you need to do a patch test as well first to see if you're not allergic to nutmeg. You can also take sesame oil or coconut oil with camphor. and basically just take either sesame or coconut oil and just add few pieces of camphor in it, and then apply it over the, the area, the pain area, which is also very, very beneficial. The next is, Epsom salt soak. So Epsom salt is basically magnesium sulfate, right? So it also has these anti-inflammatory and soothing properties for your joints and muscles, and basically, the stiffness as well. So what you need to do is basically just take 50 to 100 grams of magnesium sulfate in a bucket of warm water and just soak your legs till the knees for about 10 to 15 minutes. But you also would need to have about 1 to 2 glasses of water post the soak, because it also tends to, the soaking also tends to dehydrate you a bit. The disclaimer is just that, people who have especially low BP issues, they may want to avoid it. So yes, these were basically the superfoods and the remedies for your arthritis. Tina, can we have the question and answers?
Sure. Okay, so the first question for you today, Prachi, is does lemon juice leach calcium from our bones?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, and very common as well. So basically, lemon, it has citric acid, right? So, but interestingly, when it, mixes with your saliva and it is metabolized in our body, it becomes extremely alkaline. So, in fact, as I said, we need to keep our body alkaline. We need to reduce the acidic levels in the body. Lemon water, in fact, has been very, very beneficial in keeping up with alkaline levels in the body. But of course, because of the sourness of lemon, some may, everyone, because of the sourness. So you just have to take care of that. But actually, speaking, lemon is, when it is, metabolized in our body, it is completely alkaline.
Okay. All right. Does hysterectomy also affect joints and lead to osteoarthritis?
Yes, it can, because basically complete hysterectomy would lead to lack of or less of estrogen levels in the body, and estrogen is mainly required for your calcium as well. So yes, it is pretty much possible because of that, because of lack of calcium, then post that, that it can affect your bones and joints as well.
Okay. Thanks for that, Prachi. There's one question on how often should we get our vitamin D levels tested?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So, if your levels are, in the deficient category, so you would want to, as per your doctor's instructions, you would want to take the dosage accordingly, and then you may want to look, check your levels again, say after 3 months or so, just to have a check whether your vitamin D levels are now in the adequate, category. But of course, even post that, you may want to, may have to take a maintenance dose as well, which is mostly once a month. But of course, that is only keeping your doctor in loop.
Okay, super. What is the best source of probiotics and vitamin C for rheumatoid arthritis patients?
Okay, when it comes to, when if we look at natural sources, for probiotic is definitely rice kanji, which is extremely, simple to make. You just have to take 1 or 2 tablespoons of cooked and cooled rice, and just soak it overnight in water, in preferably a clay pot. And then in the morning, you just have to drink that water and eat that rice, or you can just blenderize it. That's an excellent probiotic source. Coming to vitamin C, again, your lemon, amla, these are extremely, vitamin C rich. Even your citrus fruits, or, your green leafy vegetables, broccoli and stuff, they are also rich in vitamin C. So having like a balanced meal will also give you the right amount of vitamin C in your diet.
Okay, thanks, Prachi. So are cramps in the hand, mostly at night, related to magnesium deficiency?
It could be. So, there are many actually vitamins and minerals to look at when, if there are cramps. So it could be magnesium deficiency, it could be a B12 deficiency. So you may want to go ahead and, get a proper checkup done, or, certain blood tests done to check your levels, and then take a call.
Okay. One of the questions says that this person's mother had arthritis for over 10 years, and she had undergone a knee replacement. But now due
Okay.
to less movement, she can't lose weight even though her diet is almost healthy. What else can we do?
Okay, so of course, we need to look at the triggers that I mentioned about. So you may want to look at those as well. Of course, he has mentioned that the diet is healthy, but we also need to look at whether it's balanced. In terms of the cereal and pulse combination, if it has good amount of protein, and if the movement is less, maybe I don't know if he has consulted a physiotherapist or no, but physiotherapy can also really help in terms of movement gradually, and which ahead can help with her weight as well.
All right, thanks, Prachi. That's a great tip. There's someone asking, can we have calcium after 35 daily?
Okay, so that's, we can't really generalize it, because as I said, of course, we if we have a balanced diet with good calcium sources, calcium rich food sources, we may not require calcium supplements. But of course, it is said that after say 45 or 50, you may want to look at having a calcium supplement to keep up with the levels. But again, it is from case to case basis, and again, after keeping your doctor in loop. And also, apart from calcium, you would definitely want to look at your vitamin D levels as well, because mainly for calcium absorption, you need vitamin D. So, that goes hand in hand.
Okay, thanks for that, Prachi. We're over the 5:30 mark by a minute, but because of our technical issues, we'll continue to till 5:35. So I'll take
Sure.
just a couple of questions and then we can recap. Is that okay? Right?
Yes.
The next question is, please give some tips on chronic cervical spine and upper back pain.
Okay. So, again, so you can look at the remedies that have shared, be it the nutmeg oil application, nutmeg oil with, carrier oil application or coconut oil with camphor application, even Epsom salt soap for that matter can also help, because it's not just about if you're soaking your legs until the knees, it leads to absorption of, magnesium in your bloodstream as well, which can help relax your cervical joint, as the cervical pain. It can help with that as well. But apart from that, certain stretches, basically again looking at consulting your physiotherapist, that would also definitely help with it.
Okay, great. Taking turmeric powder is enough for reducing inflammation, or should curcumin supplements also be taken?
Okay. So, you have to take a call in terms of, you can first check whether just having turmeric, but of course, you can never just have turmeric. You always have to combine it with black pepper, because the curcumin in turmeric is absorbed in your body only when you have piperine from black pepper. So they both go hand in hand again. So it's a combination always. But yeah, so, if you may try having the anti-inflammatory mix that I've spoken about in this session, and see how you feel. If not, then maybe you may want to, go for a curcumin supplement. But, people who have gallbladder issues, in fact, whose, gallbladder has been removed, they would have to avoid having a curcumin supplement.
All right. Thanks for that, Prachi. One last question. Can we get to know about inflammation by a CRP test?
Yes. So, yeah, so that's like a common or a general inflammation test, C-reactive protein marker, which can give you an idea of general inflammation in the body. So, yes, CRP is one of the, inflammation markers, a general inflammation marker.
Okay. Would you like to just wrap up now, Prachi?
Sure. So what we looked at in today's session was mainly, what arthritis is, and the two main types, which is osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Then we looked at the triggers or the causes for it, which is mainly chronic hyperacidity, then lack of or excessive physical activity, obesity, deficiency of certain key nutrients, that is calcium, vitamin D, and magnesium, then chronic sleep deprivation, lack of water intake, chronic emotional stress as well. Then we looked at certain remedies and superfoods, which is, you may want to try being off gluten and dairy for a while. Then looked at bromelain, anti-inflammatory mix, raw potato juice, and certain external applications like nutmeg oil and carrier oil. with carrier oil, and even cold pressed coconut oil with camphor application, or even Epsom salt soap. So yeah.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Prachi. I know there are a lot of questions still posted in the Q&A section, but for those who still have questions, you could reach out to Prachi at prachi.achrekar on her Instagram page, and I'm sure she would be happy to answer any questions you have with regards to arthritis. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so guys, please don't pass off your aches and pains as just old age, because you need to take the necessary steps right now, and mainly because sometimes it's just that we need to give our body the right ingredients and environment to heal itself and set right certain conditions, including arthritis, because our body is designed to heal itself. But of course, before trying any of the remedies and superfoods, always keep your medical professional in loop and take an informed decision. Thank you for attending this session. Take care.